Hey, excited for you to check out today's episode with Michelle from What's Weird ATX. She has some really good insights on organic growth via Reddit, some event ideas of things you can focus on, and how the creator model is the key toward the future of AI and everywhere we're going, which I 100% agree with. So, this should be a great one for you. Excited for you to check it out. And as always, remember to jump in the free Discord group that I started if you're wanting to learn more about local newsletters and local media. Jump on the newsletter. Again, usually it goes out about once a week for free at localmediahq.com, or the link should be somewhere accessible to you. And if you're interested in making your newsletter easier to create, where you can repurpose your content and have a beautiful newsletter in under 15 minutes per issue, go over to lightbreak.ai, which is our new software that helps you do this. All right, on to the show. Hey everyone, TJ Larkin here, and today I am with Michelle Rueda, who runs What's Weird ATX. She's here in the Austin area with me, and stoked to have her here. So thanks for being here, Michelle.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is going to be great. So why don't you give everybody a quick overview about you, maybe the quick story of how you got into local newsletter, local media, and where you stand today with everything in terms of whatever numbers you want to share.
Sure, sure. So basically, I'm actually originally a New Yorker, and about maybe a little bit more than 12 years ago, came to Austin, and I was not. New York was not for me. I am just like, it was a little bit too stressful, a little bit too crazy of a place. And when I got to Austin, I just fell madly in love with the city. And everyone, everyone being so friendly here and kind and approachable. And I just, yeah, I basically realized that I wanted to help people meet each other more. And so about like, I don't know, yeah, that was a little bit over a year ago, year and a half ago. I decided to kind of highlight Austin has a reputation for being weird. So it's I decided to make a newsletter just centered around like the most unique and interesting events in Austin. And so I called it What's Weird ATX. And I just, it was a little experiment kind of to start, but honestly, it has become probably the most meaningful thing in my life right now.
Okay.
So yeah, we're at almost 5,000 users. And what's interesting and will be kind of, notable to your users is that I have not spent a dime on ads.
Yeah.
Um, and that's because I built like an organic marketing tool to help me grow What's Weird ATX. And so and that tool is called Social Radar, and it's on iOS app.
Yeah.
And basically what it does is I just go into, I started kind of going into Reddit and seeing about promoting on there, but as probably many of your viewers know, certain subreddits can be like, the mods won't let you post, even if you're providing value,
Mhm.
you
Most of them, I think that is the case.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I was like, well, but this is crazy. Like I am providing value and there are people here who want to know what is going on in Austin.
Hmm.
So I decided to, because I'm an engineer, I've been an engineer for like 16 plus years. I decided to make a tool for myself to notify me whenever people on Reddit are asking about what is there to do. I'm lonely, like how do I make friends? What about dating in Austin? Right. So I built a tool that notifies me whenever someone is asking anything relevant that might be relevant to my newsletter. And then I just jump in there and respond. I Some people do stuff like this with AI. I don't do that because I really think, especially for us, like local newsletters, it's
Hmm.
all about having that authentic
Yep.
voice.
Hmm.
And so I take the time. I go in there and I respond and authentically, and I talk about, Austin and all the stuff that I know about Austin. And it has actually really like helped, like it's created this amazing brand voice. And, people like I have tons of testimonials just like from people jumping in on my comments on Reddit saying, I love your newsletter. Oh my God, thank you so much for doing this, which is like amazing social proof also, right? Helps even more people
Hmm.
sign up. I do it as much as I possibly can, right? I jump in there. It is something that takes some time, so I'm considering right now I am like in the process of working with an assistant to kind of do that for me,
Hmm.
and manage it so that it actually happens more often. But like I've gotten as much as 1,000 subscribers from a single comment.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, this is super interesting. So yes, this strategy obviously is smart in general of using free content. Again, ideally, if they would let you actually make posts, but they don't. So, but commenting. So tell me, I'm even a little confused in terms of your comment. How hard are you pushing the brand or to subscribe, or is it just, hey, I'm Michelle and I know a bunch of cool things happening, and here's some fun events this week. And if you do it that way, then how is anybody finding it? So how do you promote the brand in a comment without maybe either the mods getting mad or there being any sort of issues? Tell me how that works.
Yeah, so basically it really is about making sure that you answer the specific question the
Hmm.
person. You know, you can't just jump in there and like that's why it's important to have an actual
Yes.
human judge this because
Hmm.
a lot of the times people will be like, "Oh, I want to find like some cool antique shops." And like I could jump in there and be like, "I know of a great antique shop and by the way, go to my newsletter." Like
Hmm.
that no, that is too dangerous. Don't do that,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But you do want to, notice some ways, if people are saying, "Hey, dating in Austin is a little hard." I have genuine value I can bring there. I can say, actually, like I think going to events is really the way to
Hmm.
meet people that match your interests and that are already interested in the things that you were interested in. And I actually make a newsletter where I highlight like the most interesting events I find. And I've never had a problem. I've only
Hmm.
had lots of upvotes and people being like, "Oh, this is so cool. Thank you." Like I've never had a problem. Now, I do think it's important that, if you're just starting out with this, or if you don't already have a Reddit account, I don't know, like make sure you build up your karma,
Hmm.
you know, like spend some time on Reddit, engage just naturally and build up some karma, um, before you kind of start doing this
Hmm.
kind of thing. But like, I think if you just keep it super authentic, you're good.
Very interesting. Okay. So essentially, you were doing this manually, like I imagine. You were searching Reddit, and that probably takes a lot of time. So now you kind of built your own system or tool to like notify you. So now you're not spending. So the only time you're spending is the actual replying instead of searching for things to reply to. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How
Yep.
much does that help you, like in terms of time?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I like Reddit. Like Reddit's a cool
Mm-hmm.
social, but I have so much to do. I
Mm-hmm.
can't be there on all day. Now the only reason I'm thinking about kind of outsourcing it right now and providing a managed service is also because even with just the notification and the interruption, it's a lot of time. But it's like way less time. I mean, probably I spend 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. Like the more time you give to it, the more you're going to get out of
Yeah.
it too. So especially because so what's cool about Social Radar is that it's a lot of these tools are like keyword based. Social
Mm-hmm.
Radar is not. So you get pretty much anything that's relevant to what you're interested in. So I use it a lot for intelligence as well, just being like, "Oh, people are talking about this new thing," like, or they're asking about this new thing, So like, um, and one of my customers actually, he saw that people were asking about Christmas lights, so he built a map to answer that, and then he got a lot of he's got like tens of thousands of people visiting his website for that.
I think
So
I don't know if it was who you're talking about, but I heard somebody doing that who built like some sort of map for the Christmas light thing and really succeeded. That's kind of cool if that was you or
Adam from Lancaster.
okay,
Yeah.
maybe yeah, I think that is who it was. Yeah, that's how you helped him do that. That's really cool. That's actually such a good idea. More people should do that next year.
Mhm.
What about because I think what you're describing, many people would hear this and be like, well, obviously you should do this on Facebook too, right? I mean, is this uh have you done this at all, whether manually or with tools or whatever? But what do you think about the opportunity for doing this, inside of local Facebook groups?
Yeah, I'm working on that right
Okay.
now. It's something that will definitely be coming up, and I think it'll be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you do it manually at all? Have you gotten many subscribers from Facebook by commenting in any way?
Manually, I have not been too invested in Facebook, honestly,
Okay.
but like, so I am investigating it now as an
Okay.
automatic thing. But yeah, I haven't done too much on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know there are some people because not to sidetrack from local media, but the kind of tool that you're talking about or this concept of, hey, notify me when somebody is talking about whatever I want. Well, if you're a roofer and somebody says, hey, who's a roofer? Like you want to know and get yourself in that comment, right? And that's much more valuable than getting, 10 subscribers or whatever is to get a lead for a roof would pay off a ton. So I don't know. Is that kind of
It
partly what you're doing as well?
use it as a way of finding maybe somebody who might be interested in uh like sponsoring the newsletter or
No, I'm saying completely regardless of newsletters. Like just
oh
business owners would want this. I know there's a guy on Twitter who's literally making an insane amount of money teaching business owners how to be inside of Facebook groups. And I don't even know the details. I think it's a lot of what you're saying, which is like commenting to provide value, but also point out that you're a roofer or an insurance agent or, HVAC guy. And the
yeah.
value is in the fact that the way it has been in the past for that is you'd have to read these Facebook groups all day and nobody wants to do that, right? Well, if a tool that notifies you, hey, somebody brought up insurance, somebody brought up roofing, and then you can jump in would be super valuable. So I'm just pointing that out to you that outside of newsletter stuff, there's probably a big play
No,
there.
yeah, that's like totally. And social radar can be used for pretty much any business, but
Hmm.
I'm focusing right now on local newsletters because that's my use case and like
Yeah.
I know, I can build the product really nicely for that, but
Hmm.
like yeah, it could really be used for
For
anything and
anything. Yeah.
I want to kind of expand it to other use cases as well.
Hmm.
But for right now I'm focusing on us,
Yeah.
like
No, I mean, that makes sense for sure. I mean, I the one issue and I guess this again, it all depends on where your location is, but where I am up in north of you in the suburbs, the Reddit pages for the suburb for especially like not large suburbs, they're not super active. So, I mean, it's not like it's not worth doing. It probably is still worth doing, but it's just not quite as active, which kind of hampers that, for people who are not in larger areas. That's why Austin, Reddit pages are great for the bigger cities because they are like super, super active. Um,
like I think honestly that so if I were you, if I were setting you up with social radar, I would say monitor. You can monitor up to five subreddits currently. So I would say monitor
I'll
the
still
Austin
monitor the Austin one for when people might mention the suburbs, essentially.
exactly.
Interesting. Yeah,
Anytime you get
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's interesting. Okay, no, that's really cool. So tell me, so you got 5,000 subscribers, zero paid, which is awesome. Um, I've got a couple questions for you because you are in such a big city, but because there's good and bad in being in such a big area, right? So the good is, I think in general, you can get subscribers for cheaper because Facebook has more people to throw your product in front of. Therefore, they usually will give it to you cheaper. So there's good in that, but you haven't done that yet. So what is your thinking on meta ads, or maybe even to step back from that? Obviously, the downside of that is there's a big cost. What is your business model in terms of how are you thinking about profiting from this? Are you selling ads? What is your vision for it, and how would meta ads fit in since you haven't done it yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now it's nice that I'm not because I'm not spending any money on ads. I'm actually profitable, right?
Mhm.
With just like Beehive ads. I haven't
Mhm.
actually necessarily gone out and done too much of like let me find a sponsor, which is kind of why I love your podcast because I feel like there's so many people who are giving really great tips on that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that would be the idea eventually, just kind of getting local business sponsors. And I definitely I'm so interested in meta ads, but I'm scared to do it wrong because there's just so many different variables, right? And
Mhm. Yeah.
I know that I think you are partnered with Shane, I
Yeah, yeah.
think.
Shane and I built Lightbreak, the software to build newsletters. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Very
Hmm.
cool. So Shane is going to be making a video on ads, so I'm really really looking forward to that.
Okay. Awesome.
Want to do it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah,
To
yeah. I
start.
mean,
Yeah.
my advice on anybody starting Meta. So you got a couple options. in your, depending on your situation, finances, what you're trying to accomplish, you could just pay somebody like me or anybody who's good at it to do it. Although I tell this people all the time that even so, there's many layers of meta ads. There's agencies that do meta ads just for anybody, small businesses, e-commerce, whatever. Then you niche down to people who are good at meta ads for newsletters in general, such as the AI newsletters, Morning Brew, whatever, those types of people. And then you get to the very few people like me. I'm sure there's a few other guys in some of these Discord groups who are willing to do it. Um, Not to brag or anything, but me and the other people who are doing this for themselves are way better than the newsletter people. And those people are way better than the ecom people, right? Because meta ads is very specific. Like how we do things is so unique to local newsletters that even Shane and I have hired or know people who have hired some of the big newsletter agencies, and they can't get numbers even close to as good as us. And these are like the well-known, famous newsletter agencies. And it's because they don't work in local media. They don't do local newsletters. It's just like that's just a subset of what they do. They're not experts in it, right? Like I can't run an e-commerce meta ad. I have no idea, at least not yet. But I can do the local media, right? So either hire somebody, or in your case, again, depending on finances. But I would urge you to just try it and know that you're gonna fail. Probably, or fail's not the right word. You're not gonna optimize perfectly, because you just learn so much doing that. I feel like the world we're in right now, between marketing, which this is just a meta as subset of marketing, and AI, the answer is to just get your hands dirty and just do it. And that is the best and fastest way to learn anything, right? For another example, I try to bring this up because it really is just so mind blowing, is like the Claude Code stuff. If you're on Twitter, Claude Code, it can seem scary. The word code is scary. I've never coded, but you just got to go do it. Just go play with it. And you're going to break things. I've spent so much time and broken things. Things don't work. It sucks. It pisses me off, but it's still worth it. I'm so glad I did it because I'm learning so much as I do it. And so, A, everyone listening should go play Cloud Code. And B, meta ads, I would urge you to just do it because, yeah, you're not going to do great. Don't put a bunch of money to it. Do like $5 or $10 a day for a week, and then iterate from there, right? And then you'll get better at it. So, that would be my advice to you. If you don't want to spend money to pay somebody to do it, is just do it and spend a little bit and learn.
Yeah, I'm excited. I am excited to learn about it. I think that like anybody who's starting kind of their local newsletter or is growing their local newsletter really would be good to just make sure you have an organic strategy, but make sure you have a paid ad strategy as well. Because
Yes.
I think like for me, I've got a lot of younger subscribers because my strategy has been completely organic, right? And I've got a
And
lot
Reddit.
of,
So a
yeah,
lot of younger people on Reddit. Yeah.
but like it's not even as young as I'm starting to move into TikTok for organic as
Mm.
well. And like that's even younger than my
Mm.
Reddit subscribers, right? So but in terms, you can use paid ads to kind of more get older subscribers,
Mhm.
which you need. Ideally you want, kind of the whole thing, right?
Yeah. No, for sure. Now tell me about TikTok, and maybe any of the channels, Instagram or whatever else. What are you doing on socials?
Yeah, so on social, so I am like, I think I'm a little bit like you, where I'm not necessarily wanting to get on the camera every day.
This is the only
So
way I like to do it. It's much easier for me to talk to people like you than talk to myself in a camera. I don't like doing that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I built a tool for myself to kind of create like a Austin Tomorrow thing. And so it just kind of is like a post that I can make in 5 minutes, and then like that is kind of what goes onto
Sorry, are you
TikTok.
saying are you saying a video, or is this like a carousel or text?
It's kind of, it has some video in the back, and then it's mostly just text in the
Oh,
front.
so it's kind of like the video in the back, text on top, is it
Mhm.
like event stuff? Hey, here's what's coming up. That kind of,
Exactly.
okay,
Here's
okay.
here's my pick for tomorrow.
Okay.
Based on kind of like the weather and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
that has pretty well, and it's just consistent. And then
Mm-hmm.
also creating slideshows from the newsletter, which I think there's
Mm.
probably people that work with or whatever who can do that, and that is like that gets a lot. That gets a lot of views.
Mm.
So yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Interesting. So you don't want to do it, which again, I don't blame you. I don't do it either. Have you thought about partnering with somebody, hiring somebody like to do, actual, whether it's a green screen
I'm
or
going to do it.
you're going to do it yourself?
I'm
Okay.
going to do it. I just
Okay.
haven't,
Yeah,
done
sometimes
it.
you just got to force yourself. And, if I wasn't doing this, as much as I don't want to do it, I would do it. If I was only working in Leander or Round Rock, I would do it for sure. Even though I hate it, I would do it. I just got too many other things going on.
Yeah, I think
But-
it's really important because the more people the more people get to know you,
correct.
right? That's what they love about the newsletter, right? And
Yep.
so having that visual channel as well, where they actually get to know you as a
Hmm.
person and kind of start to like you, that's so valuable. And I really
I
do
agree.
think that we're headed in the right direction here
Mhm.
because I think that right now people's attention is turning to local. Everybody wants to get to know their community. Everybody wants to like actually get to know and associate with real people. And if you can be a community leader, like that's great, you know?
So I could not agree more. I just got off a call with a very smart person. Shout out to Taylor. He knows who he is. He's friends with somebody, I won't say where it is, who's doing, local media, doing this kind of stuff. And he's crushing it in a lot of ways. I think he's doing more of the local B2B model, which I haven't talked about a ton on here, although I'm very, very interested in. I'll probably do an episode soon talking in more detail about it. But similar to what Justin Gordon is doing in LA, but the ability to become the known, like you, I love what you just said, community leader, right? You become that community leader. You become that human that people can go to for anything related to whatever it is your topic is. Again, this can work in so many other ways. It can be a mom. You're the local mom, right? You can build a media brand off being the local mom. Um, that's not only do people want this now. This works right now. This guy in the Midwest is crushing it with not even that many subscribers. Like actually very very little. It's actually a little frustrating because he's crushing me with very few subscribers. But that's because he's doing a much better job in person, making videos, meeting people in person, hosting events, and really becoming that community leader. And so this is already working right now, and you people are crushing it today with this. It's only going to grow significantly because of AI. And this is a conversation I've had at least once a day, if not more, right now, with very smart people who understand that this model of, call it the creator model, right? When we hear about this at a national level, it's the creator model. That's what you're talking about bringing to local. And I think it's going to absolutely crush um, in the future when you can't trust anything online, unless it's a
Yes.
video, unless it's a person. And then you become the person in the local area, right? And
Yeah,
then they can meet you, right? They know you're not an AI because they can show up to the event, right? And I don't know. So I
exactly.
think you're spot on in what you're saying, and that's awesome. And you should become that person. Or what, a bigger city, you don't have to be the person for Austin. You're never going to be the person for Austin. You can become one of the people for Austin, and that can be incredibly valuable for you and the people who are paying attention to you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why it is actually really important that you engage organically, like whether it be
Mhm.
just videos or like honestly, like a lot of us are just more comfortable with the written word. So get on Reddit, let people get to know you, let people tell people what you're about, right? I really believe in the power of us all, connecting. You know what I mean?
100%.
And getting offline and actually connecting and tell people that you care. I really believe in artists. I really believe in keeping the weird in Austin. Like, tell people what you're about, and
Mhm.
people will love you for it.
I agree, and it's so exciting to know that we're very early to this right now. People are figuring it out. I still don't think most people are doing it well, especially. Well, I mean, I'll just say the one that I see the most is realtors. They kind of see this model, but most of them have some issues that we don't have to get into a ton, but I don't think they're really doing it correctly, even though they're seeing the opportunity. Like they're ahead of the curve to see the opportunity, but they're not doing it right. People like you and me and all the people who are probably watching this right now are doing it correctly, right? And so you're way ahead of the curve. So the goal is to maximize it. That's why I'm so convinced to what you just said that social media video is so important because that's how you're going to build that trust, right? Writing is good and that needs to be, the newsletter and even Reddit, like you can get personality out that way, but you want people to associate when they see that writing, their brain can see you, right? Like they know you when they're reading that newsletter. It's like, oh yeah, I see that guy 4 times a week on Instagram or TikTok. When they see the writing, they're picturing you as the writer. That's what you want.
Very important to have your face as the from,
Mm-hmm.
and Michelle, like, and I will go on Reddit and comment, and someone will actually be like, Michelle, we love you. I'll be like, wow, that's amazing, you know?
It,
So
yes. I mean, I totally agree. I think that's really cool. Quick reminder here about things that I can help you with. Number one is running meta ads. If you're struggling with that or want help with getting meta ads for local newsletter subscribers, check out my website at Local Media HQ, or you can email me at tj@localmediahq.com. Also, check out what we're doing as far as managing local newsletters for people or businesses who want to run local media brands in their community. I can help with that. And then finally, make sure you check out the software lightbreak.ai, where we are making newsletter creation very easy for local media people, as well as YouTubers or podcasters as well. That kind of accidentally turned into something that's insanely valuable. So if you're creating a podcast or a YouTube and you want to have a newsletter for it, we can do that extremely easily for you and make it beautiful and quality for your audience. So check us out, any of those places, and back to the show. Okay, I have another question for you because you kind of brought it up, and it's another thing that I've been kind of interested in. I can't remember if I ever talked to us on the show. If somebody brought it up to me, and they said that they do a general newsletter like me, like most of us, just Leander Scoop, that type of stuff, and they would put in speed dating events, not theirs, just like people host, like whatever, they found a speed dating event and they put it in their newsletter, and it would get the most clicks, like by far. And so you mentioned dating. Now, I don't know think this would go very well in the suburbs. I mean, maybe, but not really. But a city like Austin, if you're in a big city with young people, I am curious if you've thought about any sort of play, and I don't know what that is yet, but of somehow doing more related to dating. Because all I hear on YouTube, and again, maybe it's my algorithm or whatever, but like it constantly tells me young people struggle with this. I obviously don't know personally, but from what I hear, I believe it because I hear it all the time that young people really struggle with dating now. Kids are more, awkward. The way people stare at their phones all day, people are scared to talk to each other, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm curious if you've thought about anything you could do in relation to dating in Austin.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I would be focused on that, but what I'm really focused on, first off, I've noticed that as well. I've noticed that when people talk about dating, they're frustrated with it and they hate it, and yet that's one of my most clicked events when I do a speed
Mm-hmm.
dating like thing. Um, and I think what I'm wanting is when I talk to my readers, they'll say, "Oh, I'm so excited! Like I love getting your newsletter, and I'm so it's so comforting to see the events. One day I'll go."
Mm.
So what is that like? How do I get you to go? How do I get you to
Interesting.
actually go, get up off the couch and go to this event? So I've been thinking a lot about that. I've been thinking a lot about also that, and you can really see this on TikTok. The people organizing events right now, there's a lot of craft-based girl hangout type events,
Okay.
right? And where are the young men? Are they I know that they are making their own business events, right? I know they're doing that, right? But is there another way to get young men out that's not just business?
Mm.
Like I've been thinking a lot about that. So in a way, I'm kind of thinking about dating in a sense, right? It's more just like how do we get everybody's lonely, but how do we get them to hang out together?
I
You know?
That's a great question. I think you need to explore that because I think if you can answer that, and there's not like one answer to that, but if you can find an angle, I think that's massive. I saw, I don't know if you saw this, but I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but in Austin, another very well known, call it business influencer in Austin, just launched, I can't remember what it was called, but it's something like what
Is
you're
it,
talking about. What is it?
is it Ethan?
No, not Ethan.
Oh, okay.
Ethan is doing. Yes, I'm in Ethan's new group, so everybody should look into Ethan Brooks. He worked for the Hustle, and he does a kind of B2B local. What I was talking about earlier here in Austin. He just launched like a membership. Are you in? Did you join his membership thing?
No, he
Okay.
he and I are friends, so I'm
Oh, you're
just
friends
saying.
with? Okay, I haven't talked to him in a while, but other than on LinkedIn. But number one, he launched the membership, which again, super interesting. I'm thinking about doing that on my end. But he is also doing events. I think he's doing like coffee meetups or like breakfast meetups. I don't know. Cooking class. Yeah, he's doing. to your point, right? And I think this was what I was going to say is exactly what he's doing. And this other guy I'll mention, I remember his name now, but it's combining two things, right? It's saying, okay, if the goal is dating in theory, right? I don't think Ethan's is, but let's just say for what we're talking about, the goal is dating. You can't say, well, you could, but like it's a dating event because then, you know, that's just,
You
then
get
it's like, oh, is it going to be weird? And people, whatever. But if you make it a co-ed hiking group or a co-ed pickleball or co-ed cooking classes for people in their 20s or whatever people like to do anyways, that's outside or in groups, and then combine that with, yeah, it is kind of meant for dating, but it's not in the scary way where, oh crap, like I'm in this place where I got sat next to this person that I don't want to talk to and I can't get out because that's the only thing we're doing. That's what scares people from going to events. But if it's like a hike, it's very easy to just be like, oh, I need to go faster than you, or I need to go slower than you. And you can go talk to other people. So I think you
exactly.
should ponder that. And then another Austin person, everybody knows all the cool people are in Austin, of course. Nick Gray, who I'm sure many people here know who Nick Gray is, basically wrote a book about how to host events in a way that doesn't create the issues that most events cause, right? Are you familiar with what his 2 hour cocktail party idea?
I have heard about it. I need to read this book because it sounds like that's exactly, yeah, like maybe we can, create some events or design some sort of mode of interaction that would help here. Yeah.
So you should totally read it, or even he talks a lot about it on podcasts that he's been on. But some of the key components are number one, name tags. I can tell you, as somebody who forgets people's names within 3 seconds of meeting them, it is very uncomfortable to like, oh crap, I'm supposed to know their name, but I don't. So instead, you just avoid it, and that creates a lot of issues. So if you put somebody's name on their shirt, like you're taking away that fear. Like that's so great. I also encourage. I don't know if he talks about this, but I also love the idea. Some events I've been to have done this, where it's like you put your name on the name tag, and then you put what you're interested in. And again, depending on the event, some of these business events, it'll be like, are you an investor? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you looking to get a job? So then when you like meet somebody, you kind of already know, oh, let me ask them about this or that. Um, I don't know how that would come into play, but something you can come up with that. And then the other key thing that he does that I think people need to do more of is I think he does it about like 15 minutes. He is a little crazy. I've been to a few of his events. He'll blow a whistle really loud every 15 minutes and say, okay, you got to stop talking to that person. Go talk to somebody else. Right. And so that takes away that uncomfortableness of, oh, I've been talking to this person for a long time, but they're still going. And I don't want to like, how am I going to get out of this, without it being weird? And so you don't get stuck with the same person for an hour and a half. And you went to an event and met one person. Right. So by him doing that, he's forcing, or you could force somebody to meet 6 people. Right. Which is what they're going there for. And then the other thing he does is he tells people up front, this is a 2-hour event. I will kick you out in 2 hours, period. And he does. And so that like takes away that same fear of like, oh, how long should I hang out? When can I make my quick exit with people not noticing? Like everybody leaves after 2 hours, period. Right. So he's basically finding the issues up front and then solving them before they happen. And I think those kind of ideas can be huge for what you're talking about.
Yeah, I could almost see something like, kind of the dinner platform, right? Like they actually like went and, kind of
Yes.
systematized dinners. You could instead systematize maybe something more, yeah, I don't know, interest-based activity or something like what you just described. Maybe a mixer instead, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, dinner is doing some very interesting things. I think I just talked about it on my last show. That should be coming out soon. They've been doing it. I think overall it's a great thing. There can be issues with it though that you can't solve the way what we just said, right? Which is if you're putting somebody with 6 people and you're not there because that's the whole model, right? Is it's just 6, there's going to be, hopefully you have 5, 10, 20 tables. What if somebody's really awkward, right? That's kind of one of those problems that like, I don't know how that gets solved, but I know people are having a lot of success with it in general. Just know that you're probably going to have some, unhappy people or some question marks. But I
Yeah,
still think it's totally worth it.
I've thought about it, but honestly, because Austin is a city, for mine, I think it might work more better for yours, but
Yeah,
like for
smaller areas.
Yeah, mine,
Yeah,
I don't I think it's a little too risky for the big cities, but
it is. I
yeah.
mean, there are things they can do in terms of their questionnaire can be what part of town you're in, because that's one of your biggest problems, right? If you put somebody in South Austin with somebody in North Austin, they're gonna be pissed off that how far they have to go. Um, but yeah, I see your point. I think for someone like you, the better play is hosting your own, coming up with your own, and then the person I was talking to before as well is I guess it depends on what type of event you're hosting, but you can get sponsors for those events, right? Getting people to set up a little booth or to set up a big banner and introduce themselves when people come in and give them, 3 minutes to introduce themselves and their business before you kind of kick things off. Um, again, I know Justin Gordon's doing that. Again, it's easier to do in a B2B startup environment and make a lot more money that way. But I still think there are business owners who would want to do that. I mean, just real estate people alone would probably want to do that. That's their job, right? That they need to get in front of more people and introduce themselves. It's a great way for them to do it.
What's been your approach for finding sponsors?
Oh, this is not my. You shouldn't be asking me that. I'm not very good at this. I would say one thing I just did today. It reminded me about the last episode was getting in front of the agencies, the marketing agencies in town. So the marketing, I know he said they've had some really good success there because number one, the marketing agencies have all of the ideal clients. These are the clients with money, right, who have big budgets. So that's number one. And then number two is you only need one point of contact to potentially sell to 5, 10, 20 brands, right? Because they have, I mean, it depends on the big, whatever, let's say 20 different bigger businesses that pay them to find ways to do marketing for them, right? So they need people like us to be able to offer more things to their clients, right? And so now all you have to do is win over that one person at the agency, and you might be getting yourself multiple big clients. So I think that's probably the most obvious advice that people should be taking, including me. I actually had an agency just yesterday reach out, literally right after that call, reach out to me saying, "Oh, can you promote this event of ours?" And I saw their email signature, and I of course went and looked at it, and it's a marketing agency in town. And I'm like,
Right.
well, so I emailed them immediately, and I'm like, yeah, I will promote that, but also let's jump on a call. You need to know what I'm doing. You need to know how many subscribers I have. You need to know who my audience is, so that you can put my brands in front of your clients, right? And I can become part of your rotation of ways that you can market your brands.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good
And
idea.
I think, I mean, I didn't come up with it. I've heard about it a few times. I did talk to one agency once who was very interested, and being me, I forgot to follow up and just haven't followed up. I probably should. Again, I'd say that's the other key with anything sales. I come from the insurance background, of course, where sales is everything, and it's all about follow up, right? You got to follow up, and of course, I don't follow my own advice here, but follow up is just key. 100%. So make relationships with these people. Don't assume that they don't want to work with you because they didn't get back to you. They're just busy, right? There's probably so many people I would buy things from or people I would work with right now if they reached back out to me, right? People who I probably was interested in. I got a lot going on and I forget. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to talk to that person. I'll deal with it later, right? And then it just never happens. Well, if they reached out to me again and like, hey, by the way, we talked about that. Do you want to do it? I'd be like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Here, book a call.
I'm almost wondering if I should package kind of that into the managed offering for Social Radar. Like we'll also follow up, on like potential sponsors or, you know.
Well, I can tell you, yes, in theory, managing getting ads for people like us, I mean, I would take that all day, right? Because if I'd rather make 60, even 50% of what the money is if you're doing it for me and I don't have to do anything. Or maybe to your point, if maybe you're not like actually making the sales, but if you're acting as kind of the assistant sort of to like keep those relationships going. I mean, this is where things get pretty wild and we don't need to go too deep, but there's something called OpenClaw and these, proactive agents that are coming with Claude Code that, you know, are probably going to do this well for people. Right now, it's too hard for most people to do. But that's basically, you're talking about a human version of that, right? Which is we will do outreach to potential advertisers. We will stay in front of them, but you just have to jump on the calls with them and close them. I mean, yeah, there's absolutely a play there.
Honestly, I do, obviously I'm a programmer, so I definitely use tools as much as I can, but I really
Mhm.
do think that for growing your brand voice
Mhm.
organically, it needs to be a person.
Yes.
If
Oh,
for
100%.
Right,
Yeah.
and even following up with sponsors, it should probably be a person. Like it doesn't have to be you, right? But
Mhm.
it should be someone that knows your brand voice and like can make intelligent decisions about like, just the subtleties of language. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, probably, I mean, that would definitely help. I still think for people doing like me, let's say doing nothing, like I'd
mhm.
rather have 10 AI agents going and doing cold outreach um, than nothing, right? But to your
Yeah.
point, having a person doing it would probably be better. Of course, you definitely need the person to close them, right? Like that's the idea is can you use AI or an agency, and maybe the agency is using AI. Most people won't figure this out, right? For a long time. So you could do that, and then it's like, hey, the human part comes in when you jump on the call, right? And you are building hey, we are a real brand. We're leveraging AI, right, in certain ways, but in the end, this is all human. This is a human brand. I am the face of it. I am, writing the stories. I am, rewriting things, putting my voice on the newsletters and obviously social media. Because that's where I think the future of everything we're doing here is AI assisted creator brands, right? So leveraging AI where it makes sense while also being completely human on the front end, right? Because the businesses that are just trying to be 100% human for everything, you're just never going to get the leverage that somebody who's doing 100x more than you or 1000x more than you. I think you'll just be too far behind. But then there's the alternative, which is AI everything is going to just nobody's going to give a crap. Like there's going to be so much that nobody's going to care. And so the gold is in the creator model where the creator or the back end of the business is leveraging AI where you can, where it doesn't matter, right? But then being human where it does matter.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
makes sense. I think that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your last question. Give me the high level here. What is your goal? What do you see the future of what you're doing? Like if everything goes according to plan, what's kind of the outcome or where do you want to be in 2 to 3 years with this?
Yeah, I mean, I think community leader is kind of
I
what
like it.
I'm going for, and also just I've been, I'm in your Discord, and I have a separate just newsletters Discord that is
Mm-hmm.
now local focused. And it's been really amazing connecting with other newsletter writers, and I feel like I want to help everybody grow their newsletters, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that it's been really gratifying to see my customers like actually grow their newsletters and learn about their communities and connect with their communities using my software. So it's been super cool. So I want to grow that. I want to help people grow. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
No,
And I
no.
also oh, last thing.
Yeah, yeah, go
I
ahead.
also believe that the future of business is local business, and people are going to want to connect to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to see all sorts of people creating like the idea of life coaching, the idea of this type of coach and that type of coach. Everyone's going to want that human dynamic. So it's like, how do we facilitate those connections as local business leaders, right? That's
I love it.
that.
I love what you're saying. But it's funny, as you said, you have a group that's just for newsletters in general. And I like, probably too much to get on my soapbox here, but I think everything that we're talking about here doesn't only apply to local, right? More people are going to need to do newsletters. And really, if you step back from that, it's just build media brands about whatever the thing they're interested in it is, right? It doesn't have to be local. Local is a great one for the reasons you're saying and that we're all here, but it can be anything. And you're going to have to be creating content and creating brand around what you're doing, and that is the future of all of this and what we're doing. The world is going there for the reasons we said, right? You're not going to trust anything that you don't know who the person is. You're not going to trust it, right? And so, but the people who have that trust and authenticity are going to win massively. And people like us are early to this, and we can help facilitate that and help those people over the next 2 to 3 years as people figure this out. Whether it's with software, whether it's with agency, whether it's consulting, I think there's a huge opportunity to help people from all types of businesses, all types of industries, to understand this concept and become more authentic, and put their message out in the right package, right? Which is what most people don't understand. Branding, newsletters, technology, they struggle with that, but they're going to have to figure it out or get help to do it because it's the future.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Awesome.
Awesome. Well, Michelle, this has been really good. This is it's been a great episode. I really appreciate it. But tell everybody, so your newsletter is What's Weird ATX. Is that the domain? Just what'sweirdatx.com?
It's actually what's atx.beehive.com.
Oh,
I
that'd be
haven't
it.
looked it off yet,
Oh, okay.
but there's
Okay.
that, and the social radar is on at trysocialradar.com.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put some promo together for your listeners in
Okay.
particular. Please
Yeah,
reach
shoot
out
it
to
over
me.
to me and I'll throw
Yeah,
it in the YouTube. Yeah.
yeah, if that's interesting. I'm also working on a events tool, and I would like anybody in a major metro, please contact me. We can chat.
About events specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Well, there you go. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Michelle. Talk to you soon.
Thank, thank you, TJ.
Bye.
Great seeing you. Bye.